Worldwide, there are millions of people who actually wait in waiting rooms for several hours. Now, as we're looking at these pictures, these are different waiting rooms in different countries and different continents of the world. And we can see that there are just a ton of people that wait in small areas, and this has to be changed. What is my project about? Basically, my project is about how waiting rooms affect an individual's anxiety level. I've had this idea of a project for quite some time now, around early 2010, which is the reason why my journal was started so early. Anyways, enough about that. The main reason I actually chose this topic is because I'm a patient myself, and I've been in waiting rooms for basically all my life. The reason for this is because I had a heart disease at birth, which was really severe. I had my surgery when I was 5 months old on September 18th. Hence, I have to see my cardiologist every year for treatment such as ultrasounds. I've gotten sick of waiting for so much time awaiting my turn. Knowing that a hospital waiting room is a relatively boring and stress-filling place to be in, I really wanted to do something about this whole vision I had in my head and actually create a 3D model of a waiting room within a hospital. This would be a place where people could relax and literally be taken away from the real world. A place with gardens, water flows, and organic designs everywhere they look at. That was my initiative goal. To actually reach this point, I had to conduct a lot of research. Now, this research consisted of things like interviews of professionals and interviews from regular patients in general. Here are some interviews that I conducted. Thank you for taking the time to answer these questions. The first question is it your first time in the cardiology clinic?
No, it's third or fourth time.
Alright. And looking at this waiting room, if you can change anything, what would it be?
It's perfectly right. I mean, nothing wrong with it. I mean, just wait. First come, first serves,
Yeah, so you want to change maybe a bit wider?
Actually, this just make it a little bit bigger, make it a little bit organized, because sometimes you don't know what to do.
Alright, thank you very much.
Just keep waiting there, you don't know what to do this,
Yeah.
You need some directions only, that's it.
Alright, thank you for answering my question.
Okay?
Thank you.
Well, I think that if the ambience of a hospital is much cozier and much like a home, then a patient, when they enter, then they will feel very much relaxed. For instance, if I am talking about myself and I am a heart patient, and if I am walking into a hospital that does not have a good ambience or good color schemes or a good feeling, then my situation will worsen. It will not improve. For instance, and on the other hand, if I walk into a hospital that is like a hotel, it has a good, like you can see fountains, you can see good flooring, you can see good colors, flowers, and friendly people, friendly atmosphere, then definitely my half of the pain will just go away. Now what I have to do is just sit and wait in a good room where I'll be people will I'll be offered tea or water or something to eat while I'm waiting. So that will also improve, and of course that will also improve the credibility of the hospital. If I'm going to speak to someone else, then definitely I'll prefer that you go here or here. So it matters, the ambience, the waiting rooms, the setup does matter on a patient's mental, it has a mental effect, and it improves the condition of the patient when he enters the hospital.
Well, in fact, this is my first time to use this hospital because it is a new hospital. I feel comfortable because it is less patients, very good environment, very clean, very hygienic, and people are very warm, offering some drinks, coffee, and it is the first time I encounter this hospital as compared to other hospitals. I wish in near future they can install some music for listening pleasure and some plants there that is very good for the eyes. and I wish all the staffs are very accommodating also.
تكلم عنها. انتظار يعني ممكن تقدر تقول مرات يعني الانتظار يعني ممل مثلا اذا تاخذ على الدكتور، بس اهم شيء المكان زي ما قلت انت يعني اذا في مكان يعني مناسب متوفر فيه كل شيء، الخدمات متوفره فيه، هذا يعني اهم شيء متوفر كل شيء يعني مشي الوقت يعني احسن من الانتظار. Yeah, he's saying if he's waiting for a short time, he doesn't feel he doesn't care too much about the sitting place, how does he look like or how which color is. But when he's waiting for very long to go to see doctor, that he get يعني something is good to the place to be nice, comfortable chairs, something to keep him busy. Like the service we have, we're giving hospitality coffee with tea every half an hour. Just keep him يعني be patient, not feeling very long.
So, in conclusion, what would you give me advice to create a healthy environment for a waiting room?
Okay. First of all, it's not first. It's thank you to choose the word to create. It's a creation.
Yeah.
Creation because it is not make environment. It's creation of healthy environment. Healthy environment should be comfortable for the patient and start treating the patient from sitting in the waiting area until they call him to visit his doctor. So treatment is not to start to take medicine. Healthy environment, it start curing the patient once he is sitting in that environment. This means good lighting, daylight, good ventilation, good comfortable chairs, good color creation, a good color, put entertainment in the sort of soft music. And by the way, there's music by by singers, for instance, Beethoven, some symphony, it has a certain effect of increasing endorphin. And put some plants, put some birds, singing birds, or even some fishes on the wall, mountain box, gardens, reduce the newspaper or the TV with big channel, big stressful, and reduce noises. The music also has an advantage. It is abolish the noises of some medical equipment has big noises, or the most stressful things for the patient is hearing crying of a patient or crying of a babies, or shouting, for instance. I'm doing an operation and the patient is suffering and they are crying, and the patient in the waiting area and he's waiting to do the same procedure. He will become in a very bad, stressful situation. So you should abolish noises to the minimum. So make healthy environment in the waiting area.
Thank you. Thank you very much for answering my questions. I really appreciate it. This is going to be great for my project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rami. Thank you. Most welcome.
Another piece of my project was the surveys. I conducted about 100 surveys, and here are the results of all the surveys I've done. Now these are listed in percentages. As you can see, those are the questions that I've put on and that the people answered. And basically we're going to be scrolling down through all the questions I asked and what they answered. Now here is the second page. This is where they would circle what they would like to see in a waiting room. Things like the care of the staff, the cleanness, what type of flooring, what type of wall color, what type of windows. And here was the final page, which went into lighting, window window colors, curtains, furniture, artwork, plants, and as you notice, I specified on what type of, let's say, what type of furniture they would want or what type of magazines they would like to read. So to actually conduct this whole design that I had planned, I needed to firstly know what I was doing. So I was working with this program named 3ds Max, and I had professionals uh, give me advice on how to use. So I started using basic shapes, as you can see in the pictures, and from that I progressed on to more complex shapes. And basically I learned all this during the summer because I worked at a company, and their architect helped me around on how to fiddle around with this type of program. And with that experience, I think that myself, one, I got a better aspect of design in general, and two, I basically now know how to use create different 3D models and 3D shapes, and then use textures to make it just look amazing. And as you can see, my final design has been created with that knowledge. So this is my first concept, which was used by using basic shapes, and I learned how to do this over the summer at my summer job. And this concept was just to see how the shape was going to go, and I had to conduct further research to know what I was going to put in my final design. So I'm going to be showing a template and a sheet of different ideas I used to create my final design. Alright, so this leaflet contains many elements that I used in my final design. Things like the wall color, lighting, the garden itself, round chairs, and round objects in general. And this was what helped me for my final design. At last, my final design. There are many aspects within this product that I must point out since it is a crucial part of my product. For one, the color. The colors consist of soft earth tones, which is recognized to be very relaxing and the most picked option in my survey. Second of all is the aspect of plants. There are plants everywhere, including the garden. This makes the waiting room an organic place to be in, somewhere where you can relax and forget about all your worries. I made the door bamboo to enhance the feeling of being inside a different environment. There are waterfalls coming from the second floor down to the first floor, and there is also an aquarium, which is known to be also a key factor to relaxation methods. My furniture is unique since I wanted something that would distract the patients and make them admire my waiting room. Somewhere they've never been to, something new to experience. This was my final goal. Now after this, I'm going to have different feedback from many different people around the world and different nationalities, and they will be telling me what they think about my waiting room in general and how I could improve it. I'll thank you for looking at these pictures, and I'll let you enjoy the pictures. In conclusion, I've been a patient all my life, and that experience has reflected upon my project. When I conducted my surveys, it hit me. The fact that everyone had the same will of changing a waiting room environment. We have to realize that waiting rooms all have a psychological and physiological impact on patients waiting. We are surrounded by so many different stress-filling stages in our life, and we can change this. Let's start curing this stress by simply having a friendly waiting room. The process of this project and design is just the first step for a transformation. I am very aware a lot of modifications have to be realized in the design itself, like hygienic issues. The design has been made in the eyes of an individual who dreams for a change. At the end of this video, there's going to be credits, which will thank everyone who helped me in my design. Thank you very much. Here is the feedback. Hello, today I'm going to be talking to Tommy, who's a 17-year-old boy from Finland. Hello, Tommy.
Hello?
So, have you had any medical treatment involving you staying at the hospital?
Oh yeah, I have a congenital heart disease, which is a disease that is present at birth,
I see.
and every year I have to go for checkups to a hospital to like check the status of my disease.
I see. So, what are your opinions on hospital waiting rooms?
I think that hospitals often follow the traditional but like dull color scheme, which is I'm really getting fed up with after all the times I've had to like be in a hospital waiting room. Most of the waiting rooms are also quite small and contain nothing more but a set of chairs to sit down and wait on, and it's quite depressing to be in such a place for a long time. Well, I like the design. It was quite extraordinary in a
Yeah.
good way. I mean, it's like different from the usual hospital waiting rooms, which most of them have a silent and stressful atmosphere.
Hi, I'm Leocadia. I'm 22 years old. I'm a recent graduate and I'm an interior designer, currently doing a master's at UCL. I've had the pleasure of looking at Rami's design for a waiting room for a hospital, and I'm here to give some feedback. For me, the concept is very futuristic. It has a lot of potential as it integrates a lot of the needs of patients, and I think it's very different to what we stereotypically perceive as a waiting room in hospitals with the white walls and pretty claustrophobic areas within which about, I don't know, 50 to 60 people are trying to cram themselves into and wait for about 2 hours. What I liked about Rami's design was, first of all, the eye-catching seating, which I instantaneously made a connection with lava. I think the feature of having water on the walls is going to be very, very calming for the patients themselves, as water in itself creates a soothing sound. I enjoy the fact that there's leveling within the concept and the design itself, because individuals don't feel like they're encased within a box of some sort, which is the case right now in any other hospital. I think the color scheme used is very neutral, with certain, I guess, again, focal points, but they don't really spring out at you. So as an individual who walks into this waiting room, they're going to be interested to go look at it, but they're not really pressured because it's very striking to actually, go look at all of these things.
I've seen a lot of presentations, and that was quite moving for me. As a healthcare provider, I think the use of music, the images, and your personal voice, and the way you walked through what you did was very moving and made me connect emotionally with what you were talking about. So well done in that regard. I think that was what allowed me to connect emotionally with what you were doing, which is very important to get people engaged in your results. I think the entire presentation is too long, by about, I'd say, 20%. And so I would recommend that you edit it down a little bit, and you can see where that would do. Just because the span of attention is such that you can only take in so much, and then after a while, then it's not as informative for you. So that would be what I would say about that. I do think the way the journey that you took and the way you presented it, very moving. It does help you understand what you went through in your project, and it gives a complete picture of your project. So I think that was very well done. When it comes to your the pictures of the people in the interview, very powerful. The picture of the people in the waiting rooms, very powerful. It sets the stage, it creates the problem and the urgency to solve the problem. So, that setting that at the beginning was very important, because you got to see there is a problem. It needs to be fixed. You created that sense of urgency, which engages the listener and makes us want to be part of your journey. So, well done with that. Then when you went into the actual interviews, that was really good. Just there's nothing like seeing reality. And even hearing the background noise was part of the part of the experience. Your use of music is very good in there. It's nice gentle music. It's could use a little bit of editing with everything else, but it was nice.
Rami, thank you. That was very informative. Obviously, we've got our waiting rooms already built down the APD. Have you been a patient? Have you waited in those waiting rooms?
As a patient back in the Hammond Hospital, not here.
Not here in the Heart Hospital. Okay. What would your recommendations be for us for the waiting rooms in the APD? How would we make it?
Here, and to be honest, it's fine,
Right.
in my opinion. Like, the colors are way different than in Hammond Hospital. I really love the concept of the coffee and the
tea.
services.
Yeah.
That is really good.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe just like more windows or something like that, more like open area, you know.
Or use the walls more effectively.
Or use the walls more effectively. And I mean, that would just make it way better. But obviously, I know it's already built, so
Yes,
it's really hard to do renovations.
for sure. Okay, thank you.
Rami, I think you did a good job, and I have to agree with the lady who gave you the feedback from Sidra, and especially for your opening, you grasped our attention very well in showing people who are crowded. And when I see people sitting in a room, my first thing is thought of is, oh my goodness, I hope nobody's infectious. We could have an outbreak. So an infection control is a big thing when you go to design anything in a healthcare system, is to look at that. My only question to you, and it's actually a challenge, you told me you were going to go into architect, that was your interest, is that right?
It could.
Is to take this and this is like the big wish list and a dream, and then you have to figure out how you're going to financially show that this can improve and be beneficial to a hospital with limited funds. So that's the next thing that you have to do, because everybody would love to have this, and unfortunately there is a way to show, and I think when you started out you said to reduce his stress, reduces blood pressure, reduces this. There's many more aspects to it. People are more encouraged then to come to their appointments and keep their appointments, and there's just a whole better atmosphere of receiving information too that is hard to capture financially. So, very good job.